Hello, everyone, and welcome. We will get started in just a few minutes. We'll let a couple of other people come in. I've been receiving quite a bit of information, so we'll see how today goes. I'm sure that all of you have been receiving quite a bit of information as well, so we will put all of this together. And as usual, the first thing we're going to do is take some breaths. We want to be in the room. And today, this is really going to be for you. This is really going to be something that is going to give you a lot of value. So I'm so thrilled that we're doing this. Okay. Let's take a couple of deep breaths. Big breath. Release it slowly. Another big breath and hold it for a bit. Now release it slowly. You feel yourself settling into the room. You're becoming present. One more big breath. That feels good. Let it go. Slowly, slowly. Okay, we will begin in a second. We will, for those of you who may be here for the first time, just so you know, we will have a message. There will be a message on the screen. I will not be on the screen as I'm receiving the information. And when I am complete with that, we will open it up. We will bring people into the room and you can ask questions and we will move from there. Again, we're so pleased you're here and we have waited for you your entire lives. We know we say that all the time. And some of you are starting to understand that and more of you are beginning to believe that. And we've used this because we want to dispel your belief in time. You did not show up here accidentally. This is something that you planned. It's part of your divine plan. It's part of what you set forth when you decided to be born. And you decided to be born at a specific time so you could be here today to hear this, because this is going to be something pivotal that's going to help you move your life forward and create the life that you wanted to have, if you believe what we're telling you. But that is what is occurring. We use today the eclipse, as we called it, but you still have a new moon as well. But we just use the eclipse because, see, that's energetic. It has a lot of energy. And what has happened recently, many of you have felt that energy, and it has shown up in different forms. It has shown up in you making moves out of the blue that you didn't understand. You made quick moves. You've also let go of people. You've moved out of situations. You've broken things. You've been angry. You've done a lot of different things during this period to come to here, to get to today, to come to today, because this is how you planned it. You knew that if you just were to open your essence and become who you said you were going to be, that your world would look very different quite soon. Now we're saying quite soon because it's going to take some time for you to accept this and move into the place that you know on a very deep level that you're supposed to be. And that's why you set it up this way. And we're saying that because we want you to take ownership of all of this, because you can then now start directing your life. You always have that ability, but you don't always use it. Now let's talk about the extraordinary lengths that we went through today to bring you this information. And we just took Roger through so much because we wanted to break him down, as you see on the screen, so that you would start accepting more of your proper place in this world and why you're here now at this time. Now, none of you have experienced this. You have not experienced this. You're eternal spiritual beings, but you have not experienced this. You have not gone through this complete configuration. There have been many times in your world's history where the conditions such as these have existed, you see, because that's how you keep evolving. They have existed, but not in this configuration. None of you have been quite in this place. You are not the same person as you were yesterday. You are not the same person as you were 5 years ago, but you keep hanging on to that old stuff. And so that's why we have to give you some shock value to move you into something new. Now, many of you know we've been driving Roger crazy because we told him that we gave you everything you needed to know in 2012. And he said, no, that's not possible. That couldn't be possible. And so then he spent the last several weeks trying to disprove us. He did. He spent every waking hour trying to disprove us. We had him go through that because, see, that's what you've been doing. And we wanted you to hear it today. You've been doing that. You've been given a gift. It's in you. You felt it, but you didn't completely believe it. It couldn't possibly be. And you've done that because you've been using your logical thinking, as we put on the board. That's what you've been doing. You've been trying to figure things out in this logical way, and that's not how you evolve. You can't. That's not how your world evolves, you see. So we said, we gave you everything in 2012, but we want you to begin teaching it now. He said, that's not possible. We said, yes, it is. You're going to do it, and we're going to keep showing you. So what he did, he kept going back and trying to find a bad message. Didn't happen, couldn't find it. And then he tested it with many of you. You've seen that. You would come in, he would speak to you, you'd say something. He'd say, let me see what we said in 2012. He would find a message and send it to you, and it made sense. That was just to tell you that you're always in the right place. And each of you are going to hear that today because you've been on this long, long journey that is going to start to make sense now because you planned it to be in the rotation of your world so that you could expand exponentially, so that you could become these magnificent beings and create a new world. That's what you're doing. We told you that's before because that's why you're here. You're here to usher in a new world. And you are the people to do that, you see, because you've had these spirits that have been of light and of love and of contribution, except you just didn't trust yourselves completely. But that's okay. You weren't supposed to. Because if you had, you wouldn't have evolved, you see. We've used so many things to give you the idea, the awareness that you are magnificent beings who decided to be here now to take on a big mission. We gave you that message some time ago. You took on a really big job. Let's break it down. Some of you took on the grief, pain, embarrassment, and shame of your ancestors in big ways. And you could not understand why you were having so many difficulties going through your life. You couldn't understand why you were making so many of the same mistakes and judging yourself and beating up on everyone in yourself more so than anything. You did that because you wanted to let go of it. You wanted to let go of it. And the last week or so or more, you've experienced more of that. And you've been sad, you've been depressed, you've been all of those things you were supposed to be. Because you wanted to move through it. You wanted to let go of it, you see. You wanted to release all of that stuff. And you accepted so much more this lifetime than you ever have. That's why this seems big. We know some of you have trouble with the lifetime thing, but we're going to keep using it because some of you will relate to it. Now, let's go back to 2012, because this is the thing that we have done. We have used that to cause all of you to dispel your belief in linear time, meaning thinking that something has to happen like this in this sequential way. That's not how things work. We told you a while ago that we would get into a discussion on time, but we're really going to have to do that in a separate kind of conversation, but we'll do a little bit of it now. Because, see, Roger couldn't believe that he received something in 2012 that he did not understand until now. And we even had him see that last night very vividly, and we left it in the program that many of you will see next week. He read one of the messages that we gave, in 2012. And as he's reading it, he had to do a double take and go back and read it again because now he understood it. You see, that's what each of you are doing. You're understanding more. We kept saying to him throughout our communications very early on, we said, you would remember. He didn't know what we were talking about. And then he started censoring us, you see. He wouldn't say that anymore because he didn't know what we were talking about. Now he does, and you will as well. You set up something that you're actualizing now. You are meant to actualize now if you are willing to move in that direction. That's all that it is. We know that doesn't sound reasonable to many of you because it doesn't, you've never had the idea that you can actually do what you love and enjoy that and be successful and prosperous, but you can if you let go of your logical thinking. The reason we wanted to use that is because that's a human condition. Your logical thinking, it's helpful because it shows you how to get around in the world. When you're born into the world, you have to learn how to get around. And so you have other humans who have been here who have their advanced knowledge, so to speak, and usually it's your parents or guardians or whoever it might be, and they give you certain things. However, but you're supposed to take that and create something new. You were supposed to do something new, go beyond that. Otherwise, your world doesn't exist. It doesn't continue to evolve. And sometimes you need big changes, and this is a big change. We've called this your restructuring, you see, because it is about building everything new, including you. And the reason the world looks the way that it does right now is because not a lot of people are understanding what you understand. This is why we called you here, you see, because we need your essence to shine more now, because that's how the shift will happen. That's how it will go into the place where you wanted to go, where you've always imagined it. And we can say that because we know the souls of each of you. We know your spirit. We know why you're here. And some of you have just been a little too afraid of that, though. But now we'll tell you more, because there are many of you here who have been really sensitive, wonderful people your entire lives, but you thought that was being weak. You thought it was not, oh, it's not enough. It was so powerful. Because you were supposed to use that now. Whatever you thought about yourself up until this point was erroneous. It was, because you live in a limited awareness always. You have limited awareness right now. You do not know what's coming next. All of the messages that we have given you in the last week have been leading up to now. We told you the old you is gone. And that's something that's difficult for some of you to accept because you hang on to the old things that you've known because you think that they're providing you with safety, and they are not. We took Roger back to a message yesterday from 2012, and this is why we're speaking of this, because he still couldn't believe that all of this information was there that he could use to move his life forward, and then others, and he didn't see it. Well, he couldn't see it then. He had to work through it. That's what each of you are doing. He had to learn it so that he could give it to others. And that's what you're going to do. You each are here leaving a legacy. You are. You're creating your life to leave a legacy because someone is going to come behind you, see what you have done, and use that as their inspiration. And we gave so many examples today. So many. Roger had a class this morning, a singing class. We want to talk about this because this was important. We set these things up. And I know it's like many don't believe that happens, but it's happened in your life. Everything just is being planned until you awaken to it and can see the information and recognize it. So we had one of his clients say to him, they stopped in the middle of the class and they said, okay, you said this to me, and I think it was about 5 years ago, and I didn't believe you. And then I tried to prove you wrong. They said this, we have it on videotape, we'll have it out there. They said, we tried to prove you wrong. And Roger couldn't hear that. He never hears that. When he works with you and he says something about what you are, what you could do, who you could be, he believes that. It's you who don't believe it, but he could see it. That's why he says it. And so this gentleman followed through. He just kept showing up. And then he had the result. And then he finally today said, I guess this is a backhanded compliment, but I have to say it. You were right. It wasn't Roger who was right, it was us. We send him that information. We've explained this before. We send him that information. And then he just provides it and gives it to you. Because he still has his own stuff. Roger has many issues that he's still moving through just like you. He's not any different than you in that respect. He's just in a different place in his evolutionary journey as you are with everyone else. And you are in a different place within your world too. We want to say that because so many of you are here. Oh, you've done this. This is so wonderful. You've placed yourself in situations where no one believes you. No one accepts you. And you feel, why am I this outsider sitting in here? Why am I there? Because it gives you the opportunity to actualize who you are. That's what each of you are doing now. And that's why things look so crazy in your world, because a lot of people are not willing to accept that. But if each of you, we want to give you the scenario of how this is. And some of the messages that we have given you, we call it the fairy tale. We use that because most of you don't believe it. We'll just make it a fairy tale, and then it becomes fun for you. But just imagine that before you were born, that you set it all up, that you decided, if I was born into this place and with these parents, in these situations and this time in the world, it would give me the best opportunity to actualize who I am on a soul level. And each of you have done that. You may not believe it, but that's exactly what you've done. And what your soul wanted you to work through, develop, evolve to is happening right now. It's different for each of you, but it's the same, as we said. And that's why you're here. But you're the people who are going to make a big difference. You're the ones who care. You're the ones who want peace and harmony and inclusion and all of those things. And you're going to have it if you understand that the others want that too. They just may not know it. That's all. Everyone is looking for the same thing. We've given you these things over time. We've given you the one about acknowledgement, acceptance, and approval. That's what you're all looking for. Acknowledgement, acceptance, and approval. And if you give that to yourself, wow, just look at how you would feel. Because that's what this entire period in your life, in your journey is about right now. It's about you letting go of all of your judgment, your doubt, and your fear. We've told you that the point of us doing these conversations was to help you move through your fear and doubt. And we had to take Roger through it first, which is why we had him write the book on fear. He doesn't have that anymore. He gets concerned, of course, and hesitant, but he doesn't have the fear. He doesn't have that. I know that sounds a little crazy, but he can see beyond. And you are starting to do that as well. You exist in different dimensions. You are just not in this 3D dimensional world, but that's what you've become accustomed to. And at times, and probably more of you now have experienced this, and we felt that more of you have gone into different dimensions, and you found yourself recently communicating even. And we said that too. We said the communication will become louder. We said that to each of you because you're starting to hear stuff that you had not heard before or not given yourself permission to hear before. That's what's happening now. And so we decided that we were going to help. That's why we're doing the course. Let's talk about that. The reason that we're starting it on Monday, but it almost didn't happen. It almost didn't happen because Roger he said, no, this can't be. It can't be that this is really all the information that we could use and we could really develop and transform and become empowered. And then we pointed out to him, well, that's all you've been trying to do. He didn't understand that all the information that we have given him since 1988, when we had this kind of conscious communication, all of it was about becoming empowered. We don't care what you do in your life. We just want you to become empowered. Because when that happens, you're going to do great things. You're going to stop judging yourself. You're going to create things. You're going to stop judging your creations. You're going to actually put it out there when you become empowered. And it's a process. And that's why we took him through it. It has nothing to do with your age. It took him many, many years. And so we want to just explain that. Many, many years, because he fought us all the way till yesterday still, which many of you have done. Because you couldn't believe that, really? Have I been given something? Yes. Each one of you has been given these marvelous gifts that you were meant to actualize now. We're saying that because this time thing, you've got a little confused, but we are saying this period is when you meant to actualize yourself. It is. And then you have this, and the reason we planned, we set this all up. The reason we planned our course to begin on Monday is because the next several weeks before you go into your next year are very powerful. And if you were to take your energies and place them on what you want to see in your life, it would start to manifest. That's why we wanted to use the energy, you see, of this particular time in your world, the new moon and your eclipse, the total eclipse, to be a back end to what we gave you on the 19th of November. It's just a back end to that. And now it's a place where you're meant to actualize this and start planning, start visualizing, start putting in your consciousness. We're saying this because what the other thing that's going to happen is that not many people are going to want to do that. Not everyone's doing that. And you're going to see a lot of strife. You're going to see a lot of you're seeing it already, but there's going to be more over the next 3-4 weeks or so. That's what you're going to see. However, you have an opportunity now to do something different, which is to create your life. That's why we planned today, to give you this information. And Roger tried to circumvent us and do it yesterday. And we said, no, that's not the day. Today is the day. See, because the way that the configuration moved is that the energies have moved over this eclipse and all that right at this point now here where he is. So it's relevant for all of you. But the first part of it, you see, was you letting go of all this grief. This is why you were upset. This is why your bodies were going through changes. This is why you had the aches and pains and the fear and all of that. But you're releasing stuff. That's all that's happening. So then we took it even further. We wanted to really make this a great one for you. We had Roger have his last surgery. We had him do a video on that, you see, because he had this problem with his foot, both of them, all of them. And it's been ongoing for his entire life because he wasn't willing to walk in the direction that he was being guided, like some of you have not. Sometimes you create things in your physical bodies that are showing up to guide you when you listen to them, because you don't need to have dis-ease. You don't. That's from disempowerment, you see. But then once you start walking in your own path, things change. And we gave him a message earlier. We gave you all a message earlier. You can think about this one, but the thing that you're attempting to understand and accept for yourself is autonomy and empowerment. That's what's going on for all of you. Autonomy and empowerment. And in some of our messages, what we've done, we said we had you look up words, and that autonomy was one of them, because it's not used in the way that we are using it now, but we want you to use it for your life, because your goal was to create this self-sustaining life where you felt you had everything you needed, because you do, you see, it's all within you. You just thought it was out there. Now, the other little interesting thing we're going to tell you about 2012, and some of you will see this and as you go through the work, everything we gave you in that year said it had nothing to do with anything physical. Your life had nothing to do with anything physical. And that's the difficult concept for most of you, because this other world, this spirit world, or however you want to think of it, is something that not a lot of times you have moved into or been willing to accept or believe was real, as Roger did not. This is why it's been such a struggle for him to even get to this place where he would allow us to have conversations with you, because it was too scary for him and he didn't want to be judged and all that. And we gave him, we're having so much fun with this because we need all of you to get a little bit lighter as well. But we had him go back as he's preparing for next week. He saw so many of the things that we had given that he thought, wow, if I had had this before, my life would have been different. Well, the fact is he did have it before, you see? And so did you. That's what we want you have it. You've just not trusted it. You've doubted it. You go through all of that. But now is the time you're being pushed. That's what it feels like. You're being pushed to now step into your power, step into who you're supposed to be. and you're breaking the old. Then we even made it more dramatic. Roger's been changing everything. We had him direct him to change everything, his websites and all of that. And then where he had us, where he had our words on any advice for today, where he had those messages stored this morning, they're gone. They came down. Now, most of you would think that was a tragedy. He said, no, it's not. He has another copy of them. They're just not on the site. See, because the first thing we told him to do was to take down all the ones from 2012, you see, because we didn't want you studying those, because we would rather teach it, because we have books in there that we could take you on forever. You'd never finish all the work that we have given him over these years. You'd never finish it. But we wanted him to take it down because it's much more effective if he's working through them with you. So that's what we decided that he would do, and that would be fulfilling what he came to do. And you each are in that place where you're fulfilling something that you decided to do that is going to be a contribution to the world. We need you to hear that, because you have made yourself less, little, insignificant, less powerful. All of that's just crap. And this is the time that you meant to change that, because the world is changing. Your world is changing. We had Roger see several different things just before coming here, because we still wanted to give him a little more information. But the ages that you have moved through as a world has been a huge shift, and that's why it's so crazy right now. But understand that you've done this before. You've done this, just not quite in this way, but you've done this before. So the reason we wanted to talk about what we gave you in 2012, because we told you that your life experience was not about anything physical. You just use physical things to uncover who you are. You just use all the physical stuff to find out who you are, to discover your soul, basically. So all the things like money, positions, and all that have nothing to do with anything, even your health, even your physical body. We gave you so much of that in 2012, because now what's happening, you're using your physical body to separate yourselves from others. And you were meant to come together, you see? You're using your pandemic and the vaccines and all of these things to cause separation, instead of figuring out how you could come together and create unity. But you are the people who decided you were going to do that. And you each had different ways of going about it. Whatever your way is the one that meant to come through now. And there's a thing that's happening in your world that we want you to understand, because you're going to see more of it. The anger, because we gave you this a couple of weeks ago, and we said that if you're still angry, you're probably not done yet. And you're going to see a lot of people who are angry. And they're only angry because they haven't found themselves. That's all. They haven't found their power. They think that the power exists in something outside of themselves, or something that someone is doing to them and all of that. We told you before, that's not where it exists. It is in your thinking. It's how you choose to think. That's where you live. You live in your perceptions. You don't think you take your body with you when you leave your physical world, do you? No. So something exists beyond that. And that's what you each are coming in contact with now. You felt some of it, each of you, because you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be listening to this if that hadn't occurred for you. And so as we've said, all we do is give you confirmation. When we're saying certain things, we are speaking to your higher self, because your higher self is talking to you all the time. Sometimes you listen, as we've said. Sometimes you pay attention. Other times you just ignore it. We did that with Roger forever. We could give you so much evidence of that. But when the website, when he got rid of the website, which seemed like a mistake, and he had a momentary, he used to do this. He had a momentary, oh no, freak out. No, we said that's perfect. Because we need each of you to leave behind the old stuff, you see. It's not important. You're creating something new from here. That's what you meant to do. And this was the time that you meant to do it. Many of you have felt that. Many of you have felt things going on that you couldn't understand, where you've made these different moves, or you're feeling these urges to do something, but then you still might hold yourself back because of that logical mind, your logical thinking. The thing that we gave him that we wanted him to see, which was again so shocking to him last night that we gave it to him in 2012. But your brain, see, that's that physical matter that you use to think. It has a function. It thinks. It does that, and it can put things in logical ways. That's which is perfect. But there's something else. You see, there's that intuitive side, and see, your logical mind will only take you so far. Your spiritual mind, which is what you came to evolve into, is what will guide you when you listen to it. We had Roger remember last night while speaking to his associate. The first two songs even that he wrote, he knew. He said, listen to your heart. That was the name of one of them. Listen to your heart. That seems simple enough. He goes, where did that come from? The other one was better than me. We're giving you these songs that you could find them on the internet. They're out there. He did them 20 some years ago. Didn't understand why he was saying it at that time. Didn't understand why the words were coming through. But if you listen to the lyrics, it will make sense to you today. Again, we're breaking down time. You will do things at a certain time in your life that then start to show up and make sense to you, because that's part of your plan. But what we're saying is that you showed up here because you wanted to hear that it was time for you to move on with what you meant to do. It was time for you to stop judging yourself. It was time for you to stop feeling insignificant because you're so powerful, each of you. And then when you come together and start putting that energy together, wow, the things that happen when that occurs. But we're not going to sugarcoat this, because it's not going to, the next couple of weeks will be challenging for many of you, unless you remember what we're telling you. And what we want you to remember is ignore what you see and focus on you. Get inside and work on who you decide you desire to be, because that's why you're here. That's why you have this life. Each of you made this decision before you were born. We're going to do the fairy tale again because it'll start to resonate for many of you. So you walk through your life and you have these ideas, these feelings of where you might want to go. And sometimes you go there. Now, many of you have done this already. You've done this in your life because we feel it. You've started certain things and you stop. Then you went to the next thing and you stop. Then you did something else and then that didn't go well. And then you started judging yourself, and that became a cycle. Because now you're judging yourself as being this person who can't do anything, who's just messed up, who's just screwed up things. Then there are others of you who had these burdens on you that you couldn't figure out where they came from. And so you thought maybe you were cursed or doomed, or maybe you were just being punished for something you did in some other lifetime. Maybe this is your karmic debt that you're paying back. You can let go of karma now. You absolutely can. It's a different world. You can let it go. You only carry it if you want to. If it's in your thoughts, if you choose to do that, you can inject it. But at this point, because of the evolutionary change that has happened in your world, you could just drop it. You could just let go of it. That's the power that has existed, that's included in what's going on right now. And so many know this. So many people have used this opportunity in this period of these couple of days to have talks as we're having now, because they know that the more of you who inject this kind of energy into your world, it causes the shift. The reason we're speaking about this is because so many people have gone into doom and gloom, as we've said. You're seeing things that you can't see how anything is going to change. You cannot see how anything is going to get better because of what you're observing. We gave you something about that a while ago too. Like, you know, the objects in the mirror may be closer than they appear. In your rear view mirror? Yeah. We said that for a reason, because they're right here. They're right in front of you now. But you can't look at what you think is happening because you can't assess that. As we said, your thinking is always limited, meaning you're operating on human terms. And so you have to think in what you have known. You come into the world and you're thinking from what you have known, what you have experienced already. You've taken that from the people who came before. But then you start feeling something else coming to you that's different. You don't know, nobody's given this to you. It's just different. And then you have trouble accepting that. We're saying this because each of you have done that, and we can feel you. Some of you have such great talent, and you judged it because you thought, somebody else is better. Somebody else is going to really do, or somebody else has already done it. No. Then some of you, the ones that we really have been pushing so much are those who have had these really traumatic lives and are afraid to talk about it, are afraid to own it. Because you see, you accepted that because you wanted to move through it. But if you ignore it, if you're not dealing with it, then it never changes. You will repeat it. You will do it again. So we had several incidents show up in Roger's life just to show you how this could happen. He had a relationship that ended. He had this that ended. He changed all of these things. He had a website that, all of that, to tell you, to show you you're moving into a new place in your life, and you came to create a new world. We're saying that because we know who you are. You came to create a new world, and the way that you do that is to get out of your way, stop judging yourself, and own that little feeling that you've had inside that maybe I'm supposed to do something. Yes, you are, and you're each that important. In the beginning, we told you there's no hierarchy of souls. There isn't. You're each born with equal power. You have as much as anyone else, but the only thing that you have done is convince yourself that you didn't have it. You've done it over and over again. That's what Roger's done. And we're going to say this because some of you will relate to it, but we said a while ago in some of our talks that he's done this for eons. And what you get that's a time that you can't really understand, but he has a sense of these lives that have been existing in his soul, and he can see each time he's moved through a little bit more, and he knew that in this life there was this other thing that he still didn't move through, and so now he's doing it. We said that because each of you are doing that thing that's there, and that thing is your thought. You thinking that you can do this because you're trying to use your logical thinking to figure out what's happening now, and you cannot do that. When you use logic, you have to take things that you've experienced and that you know, and that you have some proof of, or that have been proven, or whatever it might be, so that you can make them come together logically. You can't do that now because you don't know what's happening. You don't know what's happening. We told you also, again, this is not about whatever position you take on the virus or the vaccine or whatever. All we know is that you meant to come together. And so you have to figure that out. You have to figure that out. You're figuring it out first within you. You have to come to your truth, your understanding of your path, your evolutionary journey, and you have to own that. And as you own that, you have to figure out, well, what value is that to the rest of the world? And if I have that value, then I'm going to give it to them in a way that's going to cause unity, in a way that's going to cause healing, in a way that's going to cause more love to be expressed. And that's what each of you are going to do. You've only had that little problem, though, of judging yourselves and thinking that you weren't worthy of doing it. That's all. But you waited for this period. It doesn't make sense to you that it would be a very specific time in your world's history that you would have done that, but you did. And we will give you so much more history as we continue doing these talks, because it will help you. One of the things that we said a long time ago, many of you would not have been quite as afraid, or during this period, had you studied more of your history, had you seen what has gone before. The only reason, we said this before, we gave you so much on this in 2012, which we will have in the course, but we said the only value of your history is to take away the wisdom. You're not supposed to stay there. You're not supposed to stay in your junk or all of that, but you just take away the wisdom. Because every experience that you've had, you've gained wisdom. Some of you will use your past to hold you back, though. That's what you're doing. Because you're judging it, and you're staying in that judging place. The reason that we said we were going to do the 31 days of 4 weeks to your best life is because you need consistency in retraining your brains, you see, because that's what you're creating. We said this is based on your brain science, neuroscience. That's what we have used. Roger just found evidence of that. And once you find evidence, then it starts to make more sense to you. You each are moving into places now that you're going to start to see very clearly who you want it to be and why you want to be here. Now, if you stop judging yourself and just allow the information to come through, because that's what will happen. The next period in your world will be a pivotal one, because whatever you do now will create what's going to happen in 2022 and 23, because those are the years that everything, this new shift, this new age is going to start taking form if you put your place in there now. As you can see, it takes a while for you to move. It takes a while for you to do things. You can see, you felt your procrastination, your hesitation, your trepidation because of this lack of belief, which is why we said we wanted to come and help you with some of that fear and doubt. And we're going to continue to do that. What you're seeing in your world are people holding on, trying to gain power externally. What power doesn't exist externally. It's within you. And the more of you who come to know that and accept that and demonstrate it, you begin to shift your world. And that's why you're here. It doesn't, we know you can't accept that, which is why we went through all of these crazy things to get you to see, yes, your time, your chronological time has nothing to do with what is occurring for you in this moment. You, the individual, we gave you a message like that the other day. You, the individual, decided to be here now because it was the perfect opportunity for you to complete a portion of your evolution. It has nothing to do with anyone else. It's you. That's why we wanted you to come into the room and be with you, be in your presence, because that's what this is about. The minute you start comparing yourself to anything else that's going on or anyone else, you lose your way. You're a unique individual that came to access and display all of that. And every judgment that you've made about how you look or your appearance or your education or your drug addiction or any of those things are just judgments, are human judgments that you can't value because you don't know. Everyone came in with things, whatever you humans call them, problems, issues, the things that you use. Everyone has them because you wanted to, because you wanted to move through them. That's the only reason that you want to be alive. That's the purpose of a life, is to move through your doubt and fear and to release your limitations and restrictions. And that's what is happening during this period for all of your entire world. Now, there are many other things that we could point out, but we would rather speak. We would rather really answer some of your questions and do more clarification, because each of you have had so much happening in your life, and we would love to give you some more clarification about that.
Okay, just bear with me here. I'm having a technical difficulty with my camera. Thank you, Eclipse. So I am going to let everybody into the room. You will be allowed to turn your video on and raise your hand to ask a question or to open your mic and ask a question. If you would prefer to send a message to me in the chat, I will ask the question on your behalf. When I send out the invitations, you will get an alert on the screen for you to come into the room, and I am sending those out now.
There's not one here who has an insignificant journey. There's not one here who has an insignificant life. There is not one here who was born without meaning and purpose. And if you think anything differently than that, that's something you made up. But it's also something you can change.
Okay, who has a question? Well, it seems to be a pretty quiet room despite having a lot of people in it.
We must have given a lot of information. We must have given so much, and we know there's a lot of energy, and we want to address that because some of you are holding back because you're feeling a little embarrassed or something. And this is the thing that you meant to move through. And some of you have not been able to place yourselves into positions of being seen, being heard. And this is the opportunity, the time that you meant to have that come about in your life. You meant to have it actualized so that you could become these empowered people. You see, these are steps. Everything that we gave you, we said in your life operating instructions was only, all of it was about you becoming empowered. Because see, when that happens, you can do anything. You're not afraid. You have confidence. You don't doubt yourself. Well, not completely. You will still have some of that because you'll have it forever because that keeps you going. But you'll look at it in a new way. You will look at your doubt as an opportunity instead of fear. You see, that's what starts to change.
I had a question.
Go ahead, Catherine.
I read something in one of, I don't know if you call them newsletters. It mentioned something about tinnitus, and I wasn't sure what to totally clear on what the point was. Because I've been experiencing that just for a couple years now.
Yes.
But I wanted some clarification about that.
Yes, we're so pleased. That means you're starting to hear. It means you're starting to hear yourself. That's we spoke about that a while ago because many of you were starting to hear things, and sometimes you get ringing in the ears. Roger had that many years ago. He doesn't even hear it anymore. It's always there. But it's a ringing in the ears. So many of you have that, and we can put it in human terms, medical terms of tinnitus and all of that. But it's a communication that is coming through, and so it's a great signal for you that you are starting to hear. And so don't worry, you'll start to trust because it in the beginning for some of you, it's uncomfortable, it's disconcerting. It was for Roger, but then he like we said, he got used to it. He doesn't even hear it anymore unless he listens for it. But you will start to understand that what's occurring is that what you always wanted to hear is coming through. And so all we want you to do is just start to accept it. And you've probably—
Is that what you meant? I'm sorry. Is that what it was meant by objective? Because I noticed that if I really like put my mind on something else, then it goes away.
Yes, yes.
But if I focus, is that what you meant?
Yes. Well, no, when you're hearing it, it's to remind you that you're always hearing it. And then when you don't hear it anymore, you're being you. You're in where you're going. You're going where you're going. And then when you stop, you could hear it if you wanted to. If you got quiet, you could hear it again.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That makes sense.
Great.
Okay, we had a question come into the chat, and the question is, how do we fully step into our power, and how will we know?
When you stop judging yourself. Thank you for that question. Because each of you, it's this disbelief, you see, because you're afraid to step. And Roger did this. Why we had him examine. We had him talk about this so much to be the example. You see, because he did this for years. He was never going to let any of you hear this. Let us come through. That's just insanity. And that's what he thought. And now it's the most joyous thing he does. So when you that feeling that you have, oh, there's so much there. First of all, the fact that you know that you're not stepping into your power means that you also know you have it. You also know that it's there. You felt it. You each have that feeling, that intuitive side that you can feel what's there. And then you start to let it come through. So the fear is there, is what you have. We've used that. That's what we use in our in the program. We're how to use your fears. We said crazy things about your fears because you had to have them. If you didn't have your fears, you wouldn't do anything until you move through them, or your doubt, your fear and doubt. You had to have them. So once you start recognizing that you have them, you say, "Oh wow, great! Now let me see. That's uncomfortable. I'm going to move through it." And we're saying this to each of you because what's happened is it becomes really uncomfortable for you to stay where you are and not move into that next portion of who you want to be, to not take that next step. But please do not judge yourself. Some of you have taken on restrictions that have been within your system, your soul journey, your family for eons, for a long, long, long time. So you're gradually letting go of more of it. So the fact that you even recognize that you're not stepping into your power is a breakthrough.
What about if it's fear of other people's judgment?
Oh, love that. Oh, love that. We gave you that yesterday. Thank you for that. We gave you something that we had Roger see last night for criticism. It's in our 2012 work, of course. And it was this. Criticism is good, and it's always helpful. And most of you will hear that and think that's terrible. No, it's not. It's what you wanted. See, because when you understand, when you change your perception, because everything we're going to do in this course is having you change your perception, how you interpret things, how you see things. So when you are fearing what other people might say or do or think about you or whatever, own it. Because see, you're fearing some sort of criticism. So we use the criticism, and we're going to give you a process on that one as well, too, because it's so great. But we use the criticism and we said, okay, if somebody criticizes you for something, you have two choices. You can believe them or discount it. So either way, they're helpful. So you'll listen to the criticism, you'll assess yourself, and you'll say, is that real? Is that me? Do I need to change anything? Okay, I don't think so. Okay, that's okay. Or I might look at me and say, they had a point. They made a point, and I want to grow. I want to develop. I want to evolve. So I'm going to listen. And then there'll be these other times where you will hear many people, because they have their own agenda. They have their own reason why they might want to criticize you. So they may say something that you will listen to it and say, that's not me. Okay, great. Thank you for sharing. But I'm not going to use that anymore. I'm going to move on. And so that's why criticism is always helpful and good. We use that human term, that human subjective term, good, because we want you to think of it, because most of you have feared that. We use the other saying many of you had in your nursery rhymes, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. If you never believed that one, but now you will. That's the place you're moving to. You wanted to, some of you, and this is so good. Some of you have been so sensitive, and that's good. But you can appreciate it now. You've moved into a new era in your world where your personality, your sensitivity, your meekness, your loving side is going to be so much more valuable. We gave you a message about that as well. You have just become more valuable. And we were speaking to all of you because the shift that's happened in the world needs you, needs your energy, needs your essence. And that's why you're here. And that's why you wanted to hear this.
All right, Terry, go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, these talks are just crazy because every time there's a new one, it confirms kind of what's been happening the week before. So my kid's music teacher, she does oracle cards and things like that. And at the end of the lesson, she comes out and says, here, do this, pull out 2 cards. One was on fear and the other one was on trusting intuition. So both things that Wilhelm and Roger has just spoken about so much in this talk today. And it's everything seems to be pointing in the same direction, but in terms of overcoming fear and following intuition, it's just crazy the amount of physical signs that seem to be coming about now to confirm heading in the right direction. Like,
Yes.
For me, it's goosebumps. Other people would have different things, but it used to be, you know, once in a blue moon that would happen. But now every single day something happens where that occurs. And it's almost like once you open a little chink, it's like it just starts coming through and you then can't actually close anymore. And all we actually have to do is just go with it.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. And thank you so much. This is what we've been saying. This is why we've been using the shock value, as we've told you. And then months ago, if you remember, we said to you that the synchronicities will start to show up so quickly in such rapid succession that it would be difficult for you to ignore them. And so that is exactly what you're seeing. And all of those things are for each of you to cause you to understand that, yes, you're moving in the right direction. Your life has value and meaning. You're not an accident. And this time also, we really want you to appreciate this time, because this is when you each decided to bring your essence into the world, because this is the time where the world needed you. There's a cooperation there, you see. There's a cooperation that exists within your journey, your evolutionary journey, and that of your world. And you're each forming performing a task within that. Now, the reason this is so challenging in this period, because you have such division among humankind all over the world, but you have to understand that you've always had that. It's exacerbated now. It's big because it's a big change, of course. However, but it's always gone on. You have to have that. But it's difficult for you as humans to understand this, because you're still thinking about your physical body, you see. You're still thinking this is the most important thing, but that's okay. You're supposed to do that. You wanted to have this physical life experience, a very 3D experience, so you can have that. But just keep in the back of your head somewhere that you're not done. You're going to keep evolving and uncovering more. And this period is a powerful one. And so we love the fact that so many of you are starting to see and recognize some of the things that we've mentioned, because then it just gives you more confirmation. And that's what we love so much.
Okay, we got a few more questions here. I got one in the chat, and then we're going to go to Cody and then Clarity. The chat question is, how do we become empowered when everything seems controlled by external forces, like literally being trapped by the situation and the environment?
Because you haven't learned yet, you haven't developed your powers, and this is okay. This is the place that you want it to be. We need each of you to understand that wherever you are in your life is some place that you want it to be. We know, we've said that for years and years, and that sounds really crazy, but it is. It's where you want it to be. So if you're feeling that you don't have any power, which is why you see a lot of anger and yelling and all of that, because people feel like they don't have any power, and we've said that's because you don't know where it exists. You haven't discovered where it exists, and it exists within you, and it exists within your thinking, within your thoughts. And the more of you to understand that that is far more powerful than anything that's going out in the physical world, you will start utilizing that, and you will come together and you will collectively inject in loving energy that's going to start to change things. And then magically your individual situations, your life situation will start to open up as well. But you are not being controlled. None of you are being controlled except by you. And it's in your thinking. And this is the thing that we're talking about. The reason that we said in the very beginning of our program, what we're doing is just allowing you, with our program, allowing you to change your thinking, because that creates everything. And it has to be a cumulative effect, you see. It has to keep going, and it needs consistency. because you've been doing something else for, in this lifetime, but you might have been doing it for many other lifetimes as well, where you're still working through some kind of judgment and limitation and restriction that you've placed on yourself. But the wonderful thing is now you're going to walk through that. You're going to move through it. You cannot look at your physical situations and really find immediately the value of them. Please, we want you to understand that, because you're in situations that you don't sometimes understand until you've moved beyond them, or you've healed or accomplished whatever it was that you wanted to accomplish in that place. So don't worry, it will always show up for you. We'll give you a little bit here. We've taken Roger back through his entire life, and he can take all of the things that he had judged as being, and we're saying this because we want you to understand, everything that he had judged as being a disaster or horrible or difficult or all of that, he has found the value of them now. But that's because he did the work, you see, in which we said to each of you, when you do the work that we're going to give you, you would have the same experience. You'll start to understand that there are processes and things that you will move through in your life, but they're all for the same purpose. They're all to cause you to evolve and become more, even if they feel challenging. We gave you a message in our 2012 work, where we said that most times you are okay when you're in situations that feel pleasurable and you're having a good time and you're partying and all that. That's great. But then when times become challenging or difficult, or you feel restricted, you think something's gone wrong. And it hasn't. All of those experiences are meant to help you evolve, to cause you to evolve. And you just place human judgments on your situations now. And we must give you this. And you will see in much of the work that we give you, humans will use good, bad, right, and wrong to define everything. And you can't do that. You just can't do that because you don't know. We gave you a message the other day that said none of you know for sure. You don't. You hope, you want to, and that's why you keep fighting one another, and you think if you put your power on them, if you think that if you convince them to think like you, then you'll be okay, when you haven't really accepted yours. And that's where we're going. You're coming into this empowered place in your life, and everything you have experienced has caused you and is allowing you now to understand that and to accept it. There are no exceptions to that, every single person.
Okay, Cody, you're up.
Hello. I have one question that's been on my mind the past week. You've mentioned that I like what we're trying to figure out, like with the acting and everything, and if it's right for me. But if it's my purpose, how could it not be right for me?
Exactly. We'd like everyone to accept that. Well, and what you said, and we're going to use that because we could hear the question still. We can still hear the question in your statement. And so you say, how could it be right for me? Because it's in front of you. That's why it's right for each of you. It wouldn't be there if it wasn't right for you. But what you do is you start to judge it, you see, and you don't understand that it's just a goal that you set up because you want it to evolve. Yeah, it may be challenging. People may want to keep you from it. People may tell you don't do it. That's what happens. But then you will know, wait a minute, I set this up. See, I set this up because if I could get beyond what they're saying, if I could get beyond their judgment, then I'm going to accept myself more. And that's what you wanted. That's why each of you have put yourselves in those situations that seem a little crazy and uncomfortable, because you wanted to become more. And that's what you're doing. And let's talk about your acting. Okay, so you have it there. What would make a good actor?
Just being myself.
Perfect. That's all we have. That's all it is. And that's what we're all trying to do, you see, is just get rid of that. Just get rid of the judgment. And there's no, and acting is, it gives you a little double-edged sword, though. It's perfect. And those of you who have done this, we will tell you why it's perfect for you. Because you'll go back and forth with it. Okay, sometimes it allows you, it's just like doing drugs, actually. Some of you use it in this way too. Because see, when you go into playing a character, you can forget yourself. You can forget about who you are. It's not me. And now I can go out and do this character and I'm really proud. And then you get off stage and you come back to yourself. And you're like, wait a minute, what happened? Well, you were acting and when you did the other thing. And then you can't understand that disconnection when you come back to being yourself. The point was you wanted to see that you have the ability to act into the person you wanted to be. You each do. You don't have to be an actor to do this. You place yourselves in the places that you want to be. You start assuming the personality, the role, the identity, the consciousness of what you want to be. And then you start moving into it. We've talked about this, and this is the problem that so many of you have, and we tried to dispel it a while ago, because you've bought the idea that many humans have made up about the imposter syndrome. It's the most ridiculous thing ever, but you've made a big deal about it. And there have been several talks, and people are getting rich off of it. And it doesn't exist, which is the same. It just doesn't exist. You cannot be an imposter. It's not possible. You may not have embodied what you want to do. You may not have learned or developed the skill or the talent or the information to do what it is, but that doesn't make you an imposter. It makes you a person who's going there. But we use certain things that kind of disempower us, you see. When we believe those terms, we think, oh, I must not have this ability that so-and-so has to do something. That's never true. Each of you have immense talent and ability. And the only thing that's curtailed it has been your self-judgment. That's all. And we're just going to keep working until we can know that we know we've done so much already. And we're so pleased that so many have begun to move beyond that. But, you know, it's been a long time. You're going to still have a bit more to move through.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cody. All right, we have clarity, and then after clarity, we're going to round out with a final question from the chat. Clarity, go ahead.
I just wanted to share that you talked about letting go and jumping out of the plane, and for some reason that didn't work for me, and I figured out that jumping out of the plane just leaves all my issues in the cloud. So when I parachute down, I'm waiting for the plane to land. So I came up with a new visualization, which was I'm carrying a very heavy pack. I'm backpacking through this terrain and I run out of water. My canteen is empty and I'm getting tired. So I take some of the stuff out of my pack that I know I won't need, but I still carry it on. And pretty soon I can barely carry the pack. So I set it aside and pretty soon I'm just, you know, I know there's water up ahead and I keep going and I let everything go. And as I'm going along, I'm going, if I get to the water, I will be okay. And I know that what I left behind, if I go back for it, I may die.
Because what you discovered.
So what the analogy there is.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. You discovered you didn't need the pack.
Yes. And I was told that the stuff I leave, don't worry about it.
Right.
It will be there if you want to go back down that
Right.
path.
Exactly.
But if you quit thinking about it, it will become less weighty. It will become smaller to the point where you can just watch it go by like a leaf floating by in a stream. So
Yeah.
what we do is we put it in its proper perspective. We put it in perspective and a way we can understand it in our hearts.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. because you just demonstrated what was really our intention, because you took something and you interpreted it in a way that worked for you. And that's what each of you are meant to do in your lives. You're meant to learn and listen to other folks and then take that information and interpret it in a way that puts your stamp on it, you see, because that's a contribution you came to make. And each of you have that. Your essence on any information makes that information new and more powerful. And especially when you can create it in a way that you can have it work for you, that it resonates for you. There's a wonderful thing that many of you might have seen this when Roger's working with some of his clients, and he will explain things to these his singing clients, and he will watch them and they will sit there and they will explain what they figured out and how they described it to him. And he says, wow, great, okay. Doesn't make any sense to him. Not supposed to. He hears the result. But they had to interpret it, you see, in their brains, in their way that worked for them. And that's what each of you are doing in your lives, which is brilliant. And that's what just happened with that comment. And we're so pleased with that. And we might use it. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Clarity. Final question. During the time it took for me to move and rebuild my recording studio, I became self-judging about my previous creative contributions and felt now that they were not that great. So I've become hesitant about getting started again. What would turn the tables in my thinking to get my confidence back?
Stop judging yourself, because we want each of you to understand. Many of you are uncovering this. We've talked about this. We've talked about it, and we talked about it the other night. Well, we had Roger do something, you'll see it in the program that we get, but this is the part about the patience. We said this because what will happen as you each are moving through this period, you're going to uncover stuff that you left behind or that you didn't fully commit to before. So that's why you're judging it now. This just all this old stuff that you're looking at. And so you're going to judge it again, but that's okay. Because see what you did before, you were building a foundation in your life that you were meant to expound on now, that you were meant to develop and take further now, each of you. It's this period we're saying that. So you can, that's why we keep saying, don't judge yourself. See, Roger did that too. We went through this whole thing. How could he sit with something that he was given so many years ago and not understand what he had? You each have done that. But now what you're looking at, when you're judging what you did before and you thought it wasn't that good, it's because you just didn't commit to it. That's all. And now you have a different energy now. You're coming into it differently now. But the judgment has never helped you. It's never helped any of you. It just doesn't. Only when it only helps you when you are able to recognize it, because then you can stop it. You are your worst critics. You just remember that. You are always your own worst critics. But that is helpful when you can get over it, when you can use it in a healthy way, you see. If you can listen to something that you've done and it's not quite that good, say, okay, great. That's not where I want it to be. I know I have more. And I know this life is about evolving. So now this is something I love. I'm going to go back. I'm going to make it better. And I'm going to do it again. And you have a great example, because that's what Roger did with practically everything he's ever done in his life, because he judged it. He didn't think it was good enough. And then he would go back and he would do it again, and it would get a little bit better. But then the other thing would happen, and each of you will find this, he would go back and find things that he did. And we're saying this because there's many of you here who have done this. Okay, you have things that you've already done that you have judged as not being quite good, but they actually are, or maybe need some refining or improvement. That's all. But this is the period that each of you decided that you're going to take all those things and make them better. This is a new, we're so, again, so pleased that you did this today, because this is the energy that's available to each of you during this time is immense. And we want you to utilize it, and you're going to move your lives forward in a big way. We're going to finish off with this. We want to explain something. The reason that we're just going to go back because Roger wouldn't talk about this. We gave Roger very specific instructions of what we wanted him doing, and the resistance was so strong, just like many of you have. But we said, no, we want you to do this program. We had to fight with him for weeks before he believed that what we gave him was actually real, that he had it. It's the same with each of you. You have these things that you don't believe are really that good yet. But we said, you got to do it. And we're going to prove it to you. And then we told him we're going to give it to all you. We told him to make it really inexpensive for you all, because we want to work with more people to make it inexpensive. And so and he's looking at that. He's going, well, I don't want to talk about it. No, we don't care. This is where we are now. It's more important for more people to become who they're meant to be. You see? Think about that, how much joy and peace and harmony you would have if you were loving yourself and doing the thing that you love to do and that you know you were brought to the world to do. Think about that. And that's where you're all moving to. And this period is giving you the opportunity to start putting in those thoughts, those ideas, and you're going to build on them. That's what's going to happen. And we are so pleased for all of you, because we can feel the energy. You've created such momentum that's going to carry on. We're going to keep building on it. Thank you. We are complete. Oh, hi. Oh, yeah, there's a bunch of folks. Okay, I'm going to, I guess there's stuff in the chat. I will see, oh yeah, perfect. I will see the chats later. I'll say, yeah, we'll save all of this. So we'll get that. Okay, anybody, any questions? Anybody want to say something? I'm almost here. Okay, yeah.
I had a question about, excuse me, the waiting list for the program.
Yes.
I put my name on there.
Oh, yes. This is this is what's happening. We're going to send something out later today. We'll send that out to
okay.
Everybody's on the list. We're going to send that out later today. Complete honesty. Things got really busy and there was so much going on. And I'm thinking and I still kind of thought, am I really? And yeah, and I got to do this. I will tell you, I'll be quite honest. And Stan knows this. Everybody, a lot of people probably know this. It was difficult for me to believe, just like it's difficult for each of you to believe that you've got these gifts that are sitting inside of you, you know. But I thought, how could I have received that and not known it? How could I missed it? How could I just understand it? Every single person has done that, and that's what I'm finding. And this is going to be, this is going to be a great period. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun what we're going to create.
So yeah, just to reassure you there, Catherine, you are on the list. I'm looking at you. And so when we send things out, you will receive it. And and just my comment on that, it's just us two dudes putting this together, you know.
Oh,
and so,
no, I'm not. No pressure. I
oh, no. This is just actually just to piggyback on what Roger was talking about. It's very surreal to see what, like, with all the stuff that he's given me to put together. And I'm like, wow, this is super cool and super big. And it's just really weird to think that, oh, it's just us like working on this. And it's like something that's really life-changing and really powerful. And it's also a lot. So yeah, all of you who are on the list, yes, there's a really good reason why you haven't received specific things yet. but that's coming shortly.
And we're still going to start on Monday, is what we're going to do. We're still starting on Monday, right? I mean, that's, yeah.
Oh, you're asking? No, yeah, we're
We are.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay, good.
I have a feeling akin to when I turn in an exam and ask when the grades will be posted. Is it I? Is it I, Lord? Is it I?
Yes, it is. For all of us, that's what it is.
Not me, who would?
That's great. This was good. I'll listen to this and we'll get it out to you all and we'll have all the other stuff. So thank you all so much. This was just really wonderful.
I just wanted to say, Roger, thank you. I haven't been with you before, besides the serving circle, but
Yes.
this was brilliant because I just had a healing session this afternoon and it was all about self-judgment, releasing self-judgment. And
great.
eliminating all the stuff that keeps you stuck
Yes.
in feeling less than. And so stepping into your power is like letting go and really coming back to this place of love and belief, trust in yourself,
Yeah.
and the sense of the power and the strength is always within you, but we just forget. So it's like, remember people.
Well, the other thing too, this is good though, I'm glad you said that, because they've been saying this, because they didn't want us to judge ourselves that we didn't do that before, because we're, okay, wait, I can do this. The age that we are moving into this Aquarian age, that's where we were supposed to be, you see? And so now is the time that we really meant to bring our stuff through. that's what's happening.
Which that Fifth Dimension song, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. I was talking about that the other day with somebody. I said, "Oh, we thought it was back in the 70s and that was supposed to happen, but no, it was now." And so that's what we're doing.
It's now beautiful. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Great. Thank you all so much. All right, I'll see you soon. Take care.